God has off ramps that he puts
That's
along the
awesome.
way.
Yeah.
And if you'll look for him, he'll give you off ramps. Where you get into trouble is if you get on the highway and you keep going and you keep accelerating and you keep accelerating, you're heading for a crash.
Yes.
And so in that anxiety, when you feel it revving up, if you will ask God to show you the off ramps, he will give them to you.
What a beautiful prayer.
Yeah. Hey moms, welcome back to the Gather Moms podcast. We are so glad that you're here. We have been gathering the experts, and strangely, it's my turn in the expert seat. Feels a little weird.
Embrace it. Don't hate it. You can do it.
Wow, that was so great.
I just felt like singing.
I am only an expert on the topic that we're covering today because I needed to dig in when I was struggling and my kids were struggling. And so today we're talking about anxiety. And anxiety is so funny because it's a word we use a lot today, but it's defined as a mental and physical response to perceived danger or stress, often involving excessive worry, nervousness, or fear about future events or uncertain outcomes. Okay.
That's a lot.
I know. Well, and we all feel it, right? So I want to think about some of the things that I would say give me, like I would say, oh, that gives me anxiety.
Okay. I also want to say, I don't know that everybody uses that word. I use the word overwhelm. Is overwhelm the same thing as anxiety?
Okay, wait. Pause. Hold on to that. We're going to talk about that.
Okay, good.
That's really great.
Good.
But I want to talk to you about like things that I feel. Well, I use the term. I'll say that makes me feel sweaty.
Yes, you do say that.
And my new favorite is to say, "Ooh, that makes me a little nervy." So it's like nervous, and it makes you a little
popular word right now. Nervy.
No, I completely made it up. So it's just something makes you nervy because it feels like it's a little cute way to be like.
I feel like used to on the podcast, I would like have a little section of like new words Kate introduced on the podcast because you make up words. I'm going to add that to my list.
Nervy.
Okay.
Nervy and sweaty. So these are things that make me feel a little nervy, a little sweaty, and I want to know if it's a thing for you too. Okay. Like, does this make you anxious? Here's my first one. Driving into the car wash and trying to get your tire in the slot.
No.
You have no anxiety about that?
None.
Bro.
It's fun. It's like a competition for me.
Come on. What about when the guy is like waving you over and he's like.
I'm like, thank you. Thank you for your help, sir. I appreciate that.
Come on. Even when he's like kind of stressed screaming at you outside your car.
Get your wand and spray my windshield. Come on, let's go.
That's amazing. That is probably my number one stressor. Okay.
Well, just don't go wash your car.
I know, but I really want to wash my car. I actually found a car wash that has like a, instead of having to put your tire in the slot, it's like a conveyor belt.
Yes, I've seen those.
And you only have to put your tire on the conveyor belt. And like, that is like
better.
Life-changing for someone like me.
Okay. So proud.
All right. Here's another one. Accidentally liking a post of someone you aren't friends with, but we're stalking.
I don't stalk people.
Come on. Yes, you have to.
I really don't. I don't have time to stalk you. So.
Okay, but like your son is interested in a girl. You know her name. So you go start checking her out on Insta.
Never done it.
You accidentally double tap one of her pictures and you know she just got a notification saying Rebecca Bradford liked your post.
No, never done it.
Come on.
I'm not trying to be weird. I just don't do
this. This is part of the human experience. I've definitely done it. And then I wonder like, if I liked it and then I like unlike it, do they still get the notification? Or do they cancel each other out?
Great question. Does anybody know the answer to that? That's a great question.
All right, here's the next one. Being the first person at a party. Like where you're not, you kind of like are general acquaintances with these people.
Okay. Okay, this is different. If it's the first person at a party of people that I love, no biggie. But if it's a general acquaintance, then yes, that makes me nervy.
First, right? Because you got to make small talk.
Well, first you have to not look awkward walking in first. Then you have to make small talk. Then when the next person comes in, you got to figure out how to integrate them into the conversation so they don't feel nervy. And then as more people show up, it just gets harder and harder. You're like, I cannot help all you people not feel
No,
anxiety
it's a
right
lot to
now.
navigate, and I get sweaty thinking about how do I eject myself from this conversation. Like I've been oh, this is such a no, I shouldn't say it. What I was going to say is
Tell us.
I've been stuck here with this.
Yes. No, you feel like you'd like to move on, but you don't know if that's acceptable to like continue walking around the room talking to other people.
As I've gotten older, I've gotten a lot better about just like, hey, I'm going to go grab a drink. It was great talking to you, and just walking away.
That's a lie. Are you really going to get a drink?
I'll go get a drink as
Okay,
long as
go
I can
get a
get
drink.
out of this
Yes.
vice grip this person has on me.
Yes.
Okay.
People are rethinking their interactions with you right now.
No, I love all these people. I'm talking about like at a random like work thing where you're like having to chop it up with somebody that you have no commonalities with, you know. I love all of you moms. I will talk to you anytime. Okay, here's the next one. Do you get nervous or sweaty as you're trying to pick the fastest line at the airport, grocery store, or the gas line at Costco?
I don't get nervous about it. I just get frustrated when it's not. Because I do, like, I'm the person when we went to Disney this past summer, I would look for people with strollers and I would choose a line without them
Okay.
because I knew that was like a whole nother beating.
Yeah.
And when I'm at the grocery store, I count what's in your basket. Yeah, I know how many items you have. I'm not mad at you if you go to the quick check with 45 items. That's fine. I'm going to go somewhere else because I'm not going to stand behind you.
So I get nervous about it because I have bad line juju. I don't know.
You just automatically assume you're going to choose the wrong one?
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if this line for gas at Costco has been clipping along. Okay. And technically they only have 2 people left where this line has 4 left. If I choose that lane, it is going to be the slowest lane.
Friend, we need to work on your thoughts.
No,
you're so mean to yourself.
I have bad line juju. My family laughs about it. I never get to pick the line because if I pick the line, whatever the line is, we are going to be
the wrong line.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I know this now for you. If we go to Disney together, I'm not standing with you. I'm going to a different place.
Okay, well, good luck getting me to Disney in the first place.
It's on my list of goals for life.
Okay, I have 2 more. What about all right, does this give you anxiety? If you have to, like it's an emergency situation, and you have to go big bathroom when someone else is in there, does that make you feel anxious at all?
If you go in a big bathroom?
No, if you have to like go big potty, like not number 1. I meant big bathroom, like you've got to go.
Is that what y'all call it in your house? Big bathroom? We just call it pooping. I mean, let's just say it. You got to poop? Okay.
Okay, so does that make you feel like a little sweaty at all?
When I'm out in public?
Uh-huh.
And like I'm at Hobby Lobby?
Yeah.
That's typically where it happens.
Okay.
And you have to poop.
Oh yeah, you went through a bad stomach season. How did you navigate that?
You just go.
But do you feel like a little nervous about it? A little anxious?
I do, but that's when I do multiple flush.
All right. And you just keep hitting that flush,
You just keep flushing?
Yeah.
And praying the smell goes with it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But it's really bad if it's like a violent flusher and then you're getting flecked with like little water droplets on your hiney.
Oh, that's nasty.
It is nasty.
Then I need a shower. Yes, I feel that completely. This is totally random, but do you ever go to the bathroom at like a fast food restaurant and have to take your drink with you?
I cannot do that.
Okay, I'm so afraid that
I will
there
not
are
do
germs
that.
going down the straw.
Yeah, cannot.
That makes me sweaty.
Yeah. Will not, cannot.
I'm nervous.
I will sacrifice the drink. I would buy another drink before I tried to take it.
Okay, can I tell you what I do sometimes? I put the straw in my mouth and I just hold my drink there the entire time I go to the bathroom. Because it's like I can close it in so nothing's getting in the straw. So I'm completely concerned.
That's pretty amazing.
Okay, thanks.
Another idea, just to put it out there, would be that you just threw away that straw and just got a new straw.
Okay, that's not bad. Because it's got the lid and potentially it's okay. I'll consider that.
I mean, but your way is clearly great. I'm just saying.
It's a talent, y'all.
Just an alternative.
Talent.
At the church where I work, there is a bathroom that I go to only for big bathroom. And I think other people do the same.
Y'all all know that this is the place you go?
Yeah, because nobody uses that bathroom.
What if you go in and somebody's there?
You get out.
Okay.
You gotta go find another one. You gotta walk it out. Because it is occupado.
There comes an age when you cannot walk it out anymore. You're either going home to change or you're going to the bathroom.
Okay, here's my last one. When you send a funny text in the group chat that is usually super active and no one responds for a day.
Anytime I send a text in a group chat and people don't respond, I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
What are we doing, guys?
Okay, so that does make you feel a little, yeah.
Because then you think about it the rest of the day. Were they all busy? Maybe they didn't think it was funny. Maybe they're texting on the side because they didn't like what I sent, and now they're all talking about it. And I don't know about it.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Sure. So here's the deal.
You typically always immediately like thumbs up.
I try to.
You're a very quick responder in that regard.
I honestly try to, especially in a group text setting.
Just to help.
Just to help.
Okay.
I recently, so I work, my other job besides this is I get to work for this church planting organization. And so I sometimes end up in group text messages with like senior pastors of major churches in the United States. And so sometimes I'll try and like potentially say something funny, and then I'm like, oh, what if that was like disrespectful, you know? So if someone, like this just happened recently. And so someone chimed in and like quickly saved me where it could have been like wrong.
Okay, but I think men don't do that. I think they laugh at what you send and they move on with life. They are not even thinking about it.
They're not thinking about it. So I texted him privately and I was like, thank you for saving me. I got so sweaty after I said that.
Well, sometimes we just, in our mind, it sounded great.
Yeah, but you don't know how things are going to play out on a text.
Yeah.
And there is just this waiting, and probably just everyone happens to be busy in that moment, but you're like, huh.
Do you ever judge the person that responds to everything? I'm like, dang it, you do not have to like every single text that happened in the past 20 minutes.
But I get irritated with just all the notifications.
Ding.
Like we don't have to heart every comment.
Yes, the hearters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, do I use a heart or a thumbs up?
Well, and they're real sweetie poos because they're trying to make sure everybody feels seen and everything. Right. But it just can be a lot of notification.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the deal. This is the reason I wanted to start off like talking about this a little bit is because anxiety, you guys could be a heavy topic.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So I just wanted to start a little more lighthearted. And I also wanted to make a point because in our modern culture, so many of us would say the things we just talked about make us anxious. And I kind of gave a definition of anxiety earlier. And that's like if you looked up Webster's, that would be the definition. But if you look up the clinical definition of anxiety, because anxiety is actually a clinical term, it says a mental health condition characterized by persistent and excessive worry, often accompanied by physical symptoms such as restlessness, fatigue, difficulty concentrating, irritability, muscle tension, and sleep disturbances. So there's a difference.
Yeah, there is.
Between anxiety as it's clinically defined and how we're using the term.
I agree. So that means we're overusing it then, right?
Yeah, because like what you brought up earlier, a lot of things we were talking about here are actually like we were feeling uncomfortable,
yes,
overwhelmed, yes, stressed, because stress is a trigger to a response that could actually happen. So like I feel stressed when I'm going into the car wash thing because I could actually damage my car.
True.
That's an actual thing that could happen.
Right.
So it's a known trigger. Or like I could have actually said something inappropriate in the group chat.
Yeah.
So there's like a known danger that we're having a response to. Anxiety is different. Anxiety is triggered by thoughts of something that actually isn't a clear threat.
Okay.
So therapists say it like this. Anxiety is like your brain trying to protect you from a lion that isn't even in the room.
That's so good. I've never thought of it that way.
So it's a perceived threat, but there's actually nothing really to grab onto.
It's illogical.
Yeah.
It's not present danger.
Right. There's no like actual imminent threat.
Okay.
It's much more ambiguous, and it's these things that we're creating in our mind. Now, there may be overlapping symptoms. I think where we get it kind of confused is there's overlapping symptoms to stress, discomfort, and anxiety, but they're different things, and we're using the word anxious for all of them. I think we're seeing this trend of increased use of clinical terms around mental health. And so you hear teens say like, I have PTSD. Like you're like, hey, let's go to Dutch Bros. And they're like, I have PTSD from that place because they got my order wrong last time. It's like, okay,
dramatic, are we?
PTSD is a clinical term.
Yes.
Or they say, I'm getting triggered, and it's because someone is like not agreeing with them, But being triggered is also like a clinical term. And I think in part because of social media, these clinical terms have become part of our language.
Because I didn't even know that there were clinical terms growing up.
Girl, when I heard about PTSD, I thought of Vietnam vets.
No, exactly. I think of war veterans.
That's the only thing I knew about PTSD. But they're such grabbier. And so in our social media, like clickbait age, people are using those terms because like if you're trying to get somebody to watch a reel, you're not going to say, oh, I'm feeling stressed. You're going to like, this gave me an anxiety attack.
And then I'm watching.
Right?
Yes.
Because it's so much clickier. And so, I think there's kind of like a light and a dark side to this. On the one hand, it is good that we are normalizing mental health struggles, right? That's great because for decades, generations of people, they were not able to talk about,
right.
They were like, oh, she's blue. And this poor woman didn't get out of the bed for 6 months.
Yeah.
Or she's having a sinking spell. And it's like, well, actually she hasn't eaten. And you know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but we've swung so far. Where we're using like clinical terms for things that a clinician that was diagnosing you would not actually use that term.
Well, and it makes you then fall into this special category of people that have this giant issue when you want to look at them and go, this is life. Come on.
Yes, this is not an anxiety attack. You're stressed out because your homework's late.
Right. If you would just do it on time, we wouldn't have this problem.
I mean, absolutely. So holding all of that to be true, because everything we just said is true. There is also this other very true piece, and it is that, in fact, true clinical anxiety is on the rise in both moms and kids.
Okay.
And so I did some research. Like, I think we all know this, but I pulled some stats to kind of help us. So in my research about anxiety in moms, I found this. Between 2016 and 2023, the share of U.S. mothers rating their mental health as fair or poor rose from about 1 in 20 to 1 in 12. So where it was like 5% were saying that went up.
Yeah.
To 8.5%.
Yeah.
Which is quite a jump.
For sure.
And then it said that those labeling their mental health as excellent fell from 38.4% to 25%.
Okay.
And so we've seen, I mean, we're talking about 7 years.
Yeah.
And that's a huge variation in numbers. It says that 1 in 5 mothers experiences an anxiety disorder during pregnancy or postpartum, making it as prevalent as depression, which is really interesting because we talk about postpartum depression.
So it's hormone related?
Well, or just this new and dealing with now, okay, I'm going to be a mother. I have this responsibility to take care of this child.
Right.
Potentially I still have a job, things like that.
Right.
But, we talk about postpartum depression.
Yes.
And it's kind of like a thing, you say PPD. Oh, did you struggle with postpartum depression? People talk about it. But it is as prevalent to have postpartum anxiety. And people are not talking about that.
Yeah. Moms
feel this rage. They feel this need to control. They have trouble sleeping. And it's anxiety, not depression.
Agreed.
I also found that anxiety is the primary driver for therapy, even ahead of postpartum depression or relationship concerns. More moms are going to get counseling for anxiety than anything else.
Well, yeah, I think depression had such a stigma to it. It was so shameful that you did not want to admit. And honestly, you're not in the right state of mind to admit it anyway.
Sure.
So anxiety, because I feel like it's trendier. It's like, oh, yeah, I'll go see somebody for that.
Yes. Does it feel like easier to say I'm feeling anxious?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's way less stigma about being anxious than depressed.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, for those of us that have struggled with anxiety, like, it is crippling.
Yes.
It makes you not able to do things, and you, like, in your rational mind, there's not a lion in the room.
Right.
Like, you can look at it and objectively say, okay, for sure, I realize there's not a lion in the room. But in my mind, there is a lion in the room that is about to kill me.
Yes.
And I cannot get my brain to stop thinking that way.
Yes.
And it's on the rise in kids. So in 2022 to 2023, about 11% of US children aged 3 to 17 had a current diagnosed anxiety disorder. So, and it's about 12% for girls and 9% for boys. So we know that anxiety is affecting girls over boys.
How do they do that in a 3-year-old?
Well, they have anxious symptoms too.
Bless their hearts.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I know. And then among adolescents, 12 to 17, it jumped from 10% in 2016 to 16% in 2023.
Okay.
So that's a 61% increase in diagnosed anxiety in just 7 years.
Wow.
Which is huge. Now, we know the pandemic had a considerable effect on this. And that's probably why we're living in this. It's a huge reason why we're living in this very anxious culture. And so it's, in the US, 1 in 16 has diagnosed anxiety, up from 1 in 10 just a few years ago. And so, and girls are getting hit the worst. They're struggling the worst. And, like if I asked you, do you know any kids or moms struggling with anxiety? What would you say?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right?
Yes.
Is it something you've struggled with?
I remember it's so interesting that you talked about after having a baby and postpartum. I struggled with it after Abby.
Okay.
I would get in the car to go somewhere and I couldn't pull out of the driveway.
Really?
I didn't know if I had the right things, if I could even like put her in a stroller and walk in a store, like crippling. I would sit there. I just couldn't move.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't think I wasn't depressed, which I've had postpartum depression. It feels like an impending danger.
Yeah.
And your body will not respond to what you're telling it to do.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. So my anxiety started in high school, and my anxiety has always been related to people's opinions of me, especially related to my appearance. And so I had a terrible eating disorder my senior year in high school. And so those things were, very closely related. But I remember trying to get ready for my senior prom, and I would say it's my only true panic attack. I've had other moments where I felt like panicky, and like really anxious to the point where I want to like cry in a corner.
Yeah.
What was different about this was I was trying to get dressed and feeling so anxious. And probably what was going on in my mind was, I'm just going to say it. Everybody's going to think you look too fat for that dress. Your makeup isn't good enough. Your hair isn't good. These things racing through my mind that were not real threats.
Yeah.
They were just things I was creating, this lion in my mind. And I remember my mom saying, let's go out on the back deck and try and get some fresh air to calm you down. And then I remember this just overwhelming feeling come over Rebecca, where it was like black. I had to put my head between my legs. And I remember thinking, this is dark, but I remember thinking that I wanted to bang my head against the brick wall right behind me just to get some relief, because the panic was so intense.
It's like, you're trying to describe it to us right now, but I don't even think you can do justice to what your emotions were actually feeling in that moment. Yeah. Where, like you said, I think one of the best things you said was everything went black. Like I'm out. Yeah. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Looking back, I didn't plan to talk about this, but I really think I'm very thankful my mom somehow coached me out of that. I was also, asking the Lord for help, and I was in counseling at the time. And so I did have some coping skills for that kind of thing, but I'm really thankful that like I didn't call it off.
No, and that she recognized what you needed in that moment.
Yes.
Because I feel for people that don't have somebody in their life.
Oh, for sure.
That can help recognize that.
And because typically what a parent will say is, you're fine, you're beautiful, you're great, you're gorgeous, the dress looks great.
And they'd almost get frustrated with you because you weren't responding like you should.
Right.
But she actually met you in that moment.
Yes. Or she could have said, oh, I'm sorry, this is so much, let's cancel. Call your date, tell them you can't go. Either of those would have been disastrous for me. But because I had the opportunity to work through it and then go do the hard thing, I was able. And I look back on pictures and I'm like, dang, I looked great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yes. Yes. How did you come out of it? Like after you like put your head between your legs and everything like that, how did you come out of it?
I breathed, I spoke some true things over myself, and then I just had to make a decision. Like, did I want to go and do this thing that I felt scared about?
Yes.
Or did I want to stay home? Like, was it worth it to me to go ahead and go and do the hard thing?
Yes.
Um,
That's resilience, and I just don't think our kids have quite that much. They don't have that anymore.
Not maybe in the same way,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm thankful I did have parents that challenged me to do hard things.
Yes.
And so, gosh, I would have been so sad if I would have missed my senior prom, you know?
Yeah.
And then thankfully I was going to a really great Christian counselor, and she did such good work with me of helping me identify the lies I was believing and replacing them with the truth. And then helping me just like learn skills for when she would call it that you would get on this anxiety highway.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get on, and as you're going, you start picking up speed. But God has off ramps that he puts
That's
along the
awesome.
way.
Yeah.
And if you'll look for him, he'll give you off ramps. Where you get into trouble is if you get on the highway and you keep going and you keep accelerating and you keep accelerating, you're heading for a crash.
Yes.
And so in that anxiety, when you feel it revving up, if you will ask God to show you the off ramps, he will give them to you.
What a beautiful prayer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so my mom was that off ramp for me in that time. And I really was able, thankfully, like, you know, I hate what I went through, those strongholds I had as a young person, but I praise God for them because I was able to like work through some issues at a very young age and find freedom from anxiety.
Yes.
Not complete freedom. I still struggle sometimes, but I really was in such a better place even by the time we got married.
Yes.
So then when I had my first daughter was in first grade and she started to have these anxious symptoms, it really surprised me because I want to tell you, like, I really thought like I had kept any anxious feelings I ever had under wraps. You know, if I ever did feel anxious about something we were doing, I'd be like, I felt like I was like the duck where like under the water, the little feet are going, but I just looked like everything was fine up top. And so when she started struggling, I was like, well, dang, I guess I wasn't hiding this as well as I thought.
You think the reason she was anxious was because you had somehow modeled it?
That's your first thought as a mom, I think. When a kid starts doing something that you've struggled with, you're like, okay, this is my fault. You know?
No, girl. No.
So, but her struggles were so interesting. So, hers were always around health. And remember, she's a first grader. So she's 6 or 7 years old.
Right.
And, so some things were hard for me to latch on with her because first of all, she was so young.
Yes.
And second of all, it was always about health. And that was hard for me to empathize with because I'm like, you're fine.
Yes. Yes.
Which my mom could have said to me.
Right.
But she got some fixation about eating expired food. Somehow in her mind, she was always worried she was going to eat something expired. So I would see this little 7-year-old standing at the fridge, looking at the expiration date on a bottle or looking at it on a box.
Those are hard to find too.
Absolutely they are.
I can barely find them myself.
She would be afraid that she thought something was wrong with her heart. And so she would come to me and ask me to check her pulse because she thought her heart was racing. I think some of this caused her some stomach issues. So she would have a hard time going to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So it would get her constipated. And then that freaked her out.
Yeah, that'd freak anybody out.
We had a death in the family and we went to their memorial. It was more like almost like a family reunion, but something about that, there was no dead body there.
Yeah.
But something about that tripped something for her. So then there was this huge focus on death. Dad's going to die. She's going to die. I'm going to die.
Wow.
And she would have these very real, get very upset. But in her mind, there was a lion in the room.
And
so young.
Yes.
And, you know, between like just trying to navigate that with her and being so surprised by this at such a young age, my own guilt and shame, you know, I didn't say anything to anybody for a little bit.
Yeah.
The game-changing piece that unlocked healing for her was that I went to dinner with a couple of friends and I mentioned that she was having these struggles. And you know what these other 2 moms said? Us too. And they had girls her age and their little girls were struggling with anxiety. And if I had never said anything to them, I would have thought this is only happening in my house.
Right.
This is only my little girl. I did this to her.
Right.
But instead, these 2 amazing moms who I admire so much said, oh, my girl's doing something like that too. And another one said, oh, mine's doing something like that too. And then I talked to my sister, who was a second grade teacher, and she was like, Kate, this is actually very normal. They go through this. It's a developmental thing where they have new awareness of the world, new awareness of the fact that like their bodies are kind of fallible, that their parent, now they've watched Frozen and all these Disney movies where all the parents die.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that.
All the parents die.
That's so dark.
In every Disney movie. It's very dark. But they finally like that clicks for them that like, oh, my parents could die. But it's a developmental thing.
Wow.
If I had never said anything, we would have just lived in this isolation of guilt and shame.
Yes.
The other thing that I didn't know is that research actually shows that anxiety is genetic.
Oh.
So genetics determine 30 to 40% of anxiety in kids. And a child that has a parent struggling with anxiety is 7 times more likely to struggle.
Wow.
And so there's a side of that where that could make you feel worse. But actually, I think when you think about it being genetic, like I would not feel guilty if, my family struggles with heart disease and then my child could potentially struggle with heart disease.
Right.
Diabetes runs in our family. So then my child might have diabetes. We have asthma or allergies or
yes.
You pass those things along and you go, listen, I'm sorry, bro. This is part of our genetic makeup. Yes. Here's the medicine we take. Here's the doctor we see. Here's what we do.
Yes.
Anxiety is the same way.
Agreed.
And so we have to process it that same way.
Well, and because you have that understanding awareness, you begin to be more aware for your kid.
Yes.
So when they do exhibit symptoms, you don't just go, oh my gosh, you're fine.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
But you actually like stop down and go, okay, well, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So thankfully, because of these 2 friends, I got my child in with a Christian counselor, and then I started reading and learning. And my favorite book was Sissy Goff's book, Raising Worry-Free Girls. It helped me reframe our struggle, and it really gave me some tools. And so I just want to spend a few minutes just sharing some tools that were helpful to us.
That's great.
1, please do what I did by the grace of God and talk to your friends and or a Christian counselor.
Yes.
There's just no telling how long I would have suffered without my girlfriends and then without having a counselor that I could talk to. 2, create an emotionally smart home. So we all are living in an age where we create smart homes, right? Mm-hmm. We've got devices that talk to us. We've got apps for our front door, our garage door, our thermostat.
Yep.
In the same way that we've made the effort to make a digitally smart home, we need to make an emotionally smart home. So we can start when your kids are very little, you can start teaching them language about feelings. So a thing I love, and Sissy Goff offers this on her website, is a feelings chart.
I knew you were going to say that.
And I love the feelings chart.
I wish we had used that in my home with my kids when they were little. I feel like I missed out.
Well, but it helps give them so much more language instead of just feeling like I'm mad, that they can like start looking at like, where is that coming from?
Yes.
And they can have better language around it and talk about their feelings. 2, that you would help make your home emotionally smart by teaching your children coping techniques, especially with breathing. So at a very young age, I started teaching the kids balloon breathing. So we raise our arms up and blow up the balloon, and then we put our arms down and the air comes out of the balloon. You can also teach them 5-finger breathing, where they breathe up as they trace their finger, hold it, and then let the air out, and then go all the way up and down the fingers while you're breathing.
That's awesome.
My teens, and I even teach my middle school girls that I'm with their small group, like when you start feeling that anxious feeling, and so now they know how to do it on their hand under their desk. And so they can like regulate themselves back into a good place before they do something they don't want to do.
That's great.
With toddlers, you can use calming cream. So you can kind of make it like it's this magic lotion. You can put stars on it. You could put glitter in it. But when they start feeling anxious, because toddlers are, they're down in their brainstem and that fight or flight response a lot. So you can say, let's go get the calming cream. But then what you do is you take this cream, lotion that hopefully has like a lavender scent, and you massage it into their hands and you say, okay, we're getting rid of all the bad feelings. Well, what you're doing is you're teaching them how to cope. You're teaching them that touch, good smells, calming voices are actually helping them in that moment. You can teach them how to, when you're feeling anxious, that we go put our feet in the grass, that we go for a bike ride, that we go for a run, that we do something that makes our bodies feel good.
Yes.
And then that we give them scriptures. There are so many scriptures, you guys, about where Jesus is and God is talking about us not being afraid.
Yes.
Where he gives us peace in place of anxiety, that he makes us more than conquerors. There are so many truths that we can claim to help.
Right.
And then finally, I just want to remind you to see yourself as coach, not savior.
Oh, good.
So what we want to be able to do is when they're feeling anxious, that we kind of come alongside of them, but they're the ones that need to be on the track running the race.
Mm-hmm.
We're the coach on the sidelines saying, keep going, okay, you're about to hit this turn. Remember, this is the hard spot. You want to dig in,
right.
But they need to run the race themselves. And so when they come to you and they're feeling anxious, you want to just first take a breath, because remember, you're going to get triggered too. If they're anxious, you're going to feel anxious.
Yes.
So do a calming technique, do some breathing, help get everybody calm. Then you empathize, you try and see where they're coming from, and then you coach them to help them navigate what made me feel this way, and what do I want to do about it, where they take proactive steps to getting out of their anxiety.
It's life skills. It's teaching our kids that one day I may not be here with you, and I want you to know what to do in that situation. Mm-hmm. And I think the sooner we start with that, the better, because I mean, I would never think a first grader would experience that.
Yeah.
So it's like a reminder to you that you don't actually know what's coming down the pipe for you and your kids. Yeah. And so just make it a regular part of your conversation. I love the emotionally smart home. I've never thought about it in that regards, where it's like we have all these ways that we make everything else in our lives smart. But what about our emotions in our home? That's so good.
Good. Well, and then the most important thing we could do that I kind of alluded to is that we can replace truth with lies, and we can
replace lies with truth.
Replace lies with truth. Thank you. We don't want to replace truth with lies. That would be bad. Don't do that.
Right.
Thank you for catching me. So we want to speak truth back to the lies.
Yes.
So the lie says there's a lion in the room that's going to devour me. The truth says the Lion of Judah is in the room with me, and he will protect me from danger.
That's good.
The lie says there is a threat somewhere in the future. The truth says I'm held by my God who's already there.
Yes.
And so to know these truths and to speak them back to the lies, we've got to be in our Bibles.
Yes.
We've got to know what it says, and so that we can help our kids when they need help. I have two I want to share with you. 1 Peter 5:7 says, cast all your anxieties on God, for he cares for you. The thing is, anxiety is so isolating, and we think that nobody will understand. But 1 Peter says that God cares, and he wants it. He wants to know what's worrying us. And, casting means you're close. If you're going to cast something over to someone, you've got to be in a relational space near them.
Yeah.
And so when we cast it, we call God near and we say, here, I need you to take this over.
Yes.
And so we call him close and we give him to him. And then we see in Philippians 4:6-7, it says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Again, the answer Scripture gives us here is moving away from isolation and into relationship. He wants us to talk to him about the things that are giving us anxiety. And then there's this beautiful trade-off when we do that, because we bring our worries to him. In exchange, he says, great, I'll take that. Now you take my peace.
That's right.
And it says then that peace begins to be like a shield for us. And so when we think of the lies of anxiety as like fiery darts coming for our heart and our mind, then God gives us in exchange this peace that sets up a shield over our mind and our heart. So Mama, if you are struggling, I hope you hear today that you're not alone. Right. And that there is healing, peace, and freedom available to you and your child.
Yes.
Fight for your freedom and fight for theirs by giving the fight to God. We love you, moms. We're so glad you were with us today.
Bye, moms.